He's great.
Yeah, no, I love everybody as long as you don't turn me around.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, Smashmaster, Derby Parts, and Derby Inc. magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt. Go ahead, Pete.
What?
Don't let me interrupt you. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
We're talking about Chris Pulley's little boy there. He won the Power Wheels out there, and he was just an awesome little kid. He wanted my signature. He begged his dad to get a white pen for me to sign his truck, and now my phone's going off.
Come on, jeez.
I might get as famous as Josh Decker if I keep this up.
Man, you're more famous.
That'd be my father.
Well, there you go.
Hung up on his dad just to hang out with us. That's bad.
Yeah.
One time your dad screamed at me for hours at a derby.
I couldn't ever imagine.
Yeah. Like literally screamed at me.
Have you ever met the guy before? I mean, like I grew up with him.
Good luck.
I got a beating.
By the way, this is the Crash Course, episode number 31.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to interrupt your party over there.
You want to talk about something else?
Well, we'd like to let everybody know who we're talking to, exactly who we're talking to. Big news out of Illinois. I know everybody was following it over the weekend. Chicago Blackhawks closed out the St. Louis Blues 5-1 on Sunday. It was awesome. So they're going to the. Oh. More importantly,
This is derby.
Spring Explosion was this weekend, and Team Brusiers, which included Eric Blom, Jason Brodzinski, Ryan Songalewski, and Pete Hansen, took home the win. The final two cars were Ryan and Jason. Pete ended up rupturing a transmission due to excessive force. But Pete's joining us here in studio. We're gonna have Justin on the line here in just a little bit. We've also got Ben Host here in studio, Brian Tompkins, and SBM Motorsports announcing out there in New Hampshire. There's Steve. He's camped out at home. I like the hat over your back shoulder too, by the way. It's a nice addition to the studio there at the house.
I thought the cat threw up there.
Glad to be here.
Sorry.
Thought the cat threw up, man.
Sorry. My bad.
It's terrible. Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, Spring Explosion. Excellent show out there. Hard-hitting action. We heard a lot about Leftovers versus Team Guard in the first round, but the Bruisers, they did okay for themselves. You can order the video from Cheaters Videos, cheatervideos.net. They did a great job of that. They had cameras all over the place out there. They were pretty busy. But we've got Pete here. Made the drive up, which I told you didn't have to do. I'm glad you came. I'm certainly glad you came. It's going to be a fun, fast hour here. Tell us, basically a little bit about what it was like to take part and leave that right where it is. It'll be able to pick up both of you just fine.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like being in a DI inspection line. Oh, wow.
You want me to put some pink spray paint on it for you?
We just started, Pete.
Don't get anybody mad at us, Pete.
By the way, actually, you probably could swing that over in front of you because Josh isn't going to say anything. No. He's just going to sit there. He's just going to sit there and he goes, "I can't believe I'm sitting on the couch with Pete Hansen."
Champion. You're the real champion.
Want me to rub some luck on you?
I need that.
I think Blizzard Bash, you're really gonna need it.
Yeah. Hey, don't scare me.
I like how Pete's shirt's green, something bright, and you can notice Josh's shirt's gray, the same color as the cinder block.
Wow, I didn't think that was gonna come out tonight.
He knows
honestly,
I can't junk him in a car. That's why he always says stuff like that. If you ever get one, you're smoked.
I'm not good. I know better than that.
You're smoked.
Look, I know
the van's down in the parking lot.
I'll smoke that thing.
I know what I'm good at, and it's not in a derby car.
No.
has he ever drove a car?
No.
Really?
No.
Ben's going to allow passengers next year, and he's going to hop in some passenger car with me next year.
Oh, I'm going to be in plenty of passenger cars next year. I'm going to ride as many of them as I can.
Pretty much you sign a waiver and the car's good enough. I don't see why you couldn't ride this year.
Let's say it again. Say it again, because
Seriously.
I'll put. Okay, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that after the show.
let's table that.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, let's get back onto what.
I wanna
How
rest
much-
it.
Back on Pete's victory out
like
there.
the-
So how much fun was it?
Oh, it was by far the hardest derby I ever ran in my life. I mean, the cars, when you come in contact with them out there, it's like, it reset your brain. It was like, around home here, it's like when you hit somebody with stuff I build, it's like crunch, comfortable, not so bad. Out there, no, EPR, Craig and Adam and stuff like that. I mean, hats off to them guys. They build great cars. Everybody did. I mean, Johnson's, the leftovers. I mean, I don't know a lot of the guys because I just started running out there, but I can't name a lot of names. But, I mean, back years ago, I watched EPR and all them guys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I mean, they come on to me like
They didn't like you, I don't think.
they were a bunch of honeybees and I was the honey, or I was the flower. I was a little pollen there, and I thought, oh, boy, this ain't going to be good.
Do you find yourself trying not to make head-on hits and stuff, knowing how hard those cars were, just because, besides bending, but it actually hurts a little bit? Like, do you actually try not to, or do you just say, like, yeah, screw it?
At that point, when I had 3 PR cars just kind of on me, and I'm like, the whole thought of the principle of, well, we're going to take it easy, we're going to plan our shot, just goes out the window. It's to the floor, jerking the shifter, like I said with Craig there, and the dad, he come down the track wide open with a suicide, and there was no left or right for me. It was, I ain't getting away from it. So put it in drive and hold it to the floor. We come together, and master cylinder and everything else that was in there for brake components was gone.
Broke it up.
Yeah, gone. So we don't need brakes. Okay, shifter the rest of the night, and then I accidentally, I apologize even on TV, I was sorry that I hit Craig in the door. I was lined up on his front wheel, and one of my teammates had pushed him up. I had watched the video later, and, there was no brakes. There was nothing I could do. I turned the wheel, but it was just too late. It was so quick, and it happened, and, I felt bad. I still to today I feel bad. I never want to try to hurt a driver.
No.
It's such a fast-paced show.
Oh, it's
anyway.
wild.
I mean, it's so wild. I mean, it's kind of a.
Yeah.
Nobody does it on purpose. It's a given. It's going to happen, and it's.
And then there for the first couple, minutes or whatever it was, just felt like me and them. Then all of a sudden, I had some backup game, and it was like, thanks, Jason. It's like, okay, tides are changing, and then it did. It really did. It didn't take long, and things flipped around quick.
And you were only out there 45, 50 minutes or so. It went fast pace, real fast pace.
Usually in a derby, you thought you were in there for 2 hours. I thought I was only in there 15 minutes. At the end,
the way the pace was, the way the pace is set, I think it just time goes.
Somebody part of our team come out right after it was over and was just checking block temperatures and stuff, just checking. My motor was 170 degrees.
Oh, jeez.
And that thing, I was flat in it.
Yeah.
Brent Johnson, Redline Racing, buddy.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
How cool is that?
You can read about them
Now,
in the latest edition of Derby Magazine.
your brand new motor?
No,
that was your one
no.
you had
That's
last year.
Yeah, that's this motor here, the new one coming out. It's going to be debuted at Metal Mayhem.
Nice.
You're going to be going out there with Josh DeBevick.
Yep, Josh DeBevick, and hopefully
Who else from this team? Who else from Team Brusiers are going to be out there?
I think Jason's going, Brodzinski, possibly Eric Blum. I know Ryan Songaluski is going to be having a baby here shortly.
Yep.
I don't think he'll make it, but I think most of us, 3 of us will be there, and it's, I just got to basically put my hat off to, Brian Narat for the quality parts that man builds. I wouldn't have been where I was the other night without him. Joker with his ball joints. Brandon Dixon for the wicked rides, the tire rod ends. Redline race engines. Brent Johnson. Matt McClue with Postal Mopar with the rear end. I had probably the best stuff in the country in my car. As far as I'm concerned as a builder.
And you broke it.
Well,
Something got to break.
I was talking to Joker today, actually, though, and he was telling me that almost half the cars that were out there had Joker suspension parts on it.
no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to, maybe one day with you or him or one of, I'd like to actually, maybe you guys could teach us a little bit because I'm kind of lost on that. And he's got some awesome stuff. I was looking at some pictures of Joker stuff, and it's pretty impressive. But I think a lot of people in the derby world don't really understand that because at your caliper where you just raced, you almost have to change those. You can't run stock.
Yes.
But
Right.
at the county fair, so a lot of guys don't even realize guys are doing that.
Well,
so maybe it'd be cool to like learn a little bit about that one day.
And the Mopar guys in general really got to realize that, you know, when you buy a ball joint from Joker, most of the time you can take that on your stock A-arm and unscrew your stock one and just screw in Joker's
Right.
ball joint because NASCAR front end components are all based off of Mopar parts.
Yeah, because that was
Yeah.
Mopar was the original factory
Exactly.
Yes.
equipment in the '60s.
Yeah.
So that's what everything's based off.
Yes.
Still,
Yeah, and that's part of the problem I foresee myself this year running into at a few of the shows because a lot of guys are buying Joker parts, a lot of guys are running
Yeah.
Joker stuff,
Yeah.
and I personally I don't have issues with it. I mean, it has to be certain tweaks here and there, but
If it, you know,
you know what, and that's part of trying to bring this area up to speed,
Yes.
kind of evolving them a little bit. And a lot of people, I think, where the issues are going to come, a lot of people don't understand it, and they just
But guys have been reinforcing those areas before, but have kind of like backwoods ways of doing it.
exactly.
So
And
what's
this
the difference
This
of
is
a
just a
guy-
cleaner. It's a cleaner application. It's more of a bolt-on type
Yep.
application.
Yep.
but
And-
that's the thing is, and I think eventually it's going to bring costs down. I mean, you buy the stuff once, and if good stuff, it's not going to get broke. So you just put it on your next car. All right, Pete, if you don't drive like you,
I mean, it's all.
you didn't break any of
What'd you say,
Joker's.
Steve?
no,
Okay,
no, I
well,
didn't.
see, there you go.
Maybe at a big show, but you last a while.
You're not gonna mess that stuff up at your county fair.
Right.
That's a good point. You're
Exactly.
not.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
Well-
but that's
Well,
I
you
mean
could,
that's
I
the thing.
guess.
To an
Is,
I mean,
extent.
as long as you don't go to like a Wego or something like that by yourself against 14 guys in Imperial.
You still did fine.
You
Pete.
know-
Don't ever stop bringing that up all the time. It's like you're angry about it or something.
You guys gang rape me. We felt violated.
All right, we're all friends now. Forget about it.
Oh, now you want to be my friend.
You're good.
Could understand why.
You're good. You make me nervous.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the results from out there at Spring Explosion. The Team Brusiers won overall. Johnson Wrecking Crew was second. Made in Canada third. Guard Speed shot fourth. Tri-State Instigators fifth. Leftovers, the defending champions sixth. EPR seventh. And Just for Fun was eighth. In the final rundown, it was Jason Brodzinski, Ryan Songalewski taking the top two spots. Troy Johnson, one of those guys from Made in Canada. I'm not for sure which one. It was Cousineau, I believe, that ended up finishing behind Troy. Then Eric Bloom, Pete Hansen, the guard cars were right up there as well. Compacts, Matt Slade took the win overall. Butch Helfrich, Robert Cedar behind him. Ty Richards, we saw him at Redneck.
Yep. No.
Or excuse me,
Razorback.
Razorback Rumble in Arkansas. He did a great job taking home the 80s class win. James Porchaska, he took home second. Derek Ray was third. All those guys. And Chase Geese also there. Wendell Bowman taking fifth. Bone Stock Division, Jim Frost over Andy Hansen. Rob Schweitzer, John Bell, Denny Vaughn. Truck class, Dustin Gibbs, Tim Grote, Jesse Ray. And then the Heats, Tri-State Instigators took a win in the first round. EPR, Just for Fun, Leftovers, Made in Canada, and Bruisers also getting heat wins. There was another derby, actually. It was a spring fling event in Scottsville, Kentucky, the big cars. They had about 27 big cars out there. Rob Nichols was the big car winner over Fugie Barnes. I'm taking a shot in the dark. I have no idea how to say that. Daniel Smith was the Mad Dog. Minis was Michael Grimsley over Mike Baker. Mowers was Robbie Vest, Aaron Savage, Dave Lambert, Eric Mink. That coverage was Hot Wired Customs. Kicking that stuff in from Saturday, Scottsville, Kentucky. Spring Fling, and then it was Cheaters Videos again that was doing all the photo work and the video production at Spring Explosion. So check those guys out. Great photos from both of those guys that are peppered all over the internet. Jill Lancaster, she was out there. She's our friend from out there in Minnesota. She provided the cover shot for our show. So just wanted to say a big thanks to her.
Butch that ran I think he finished second in the compacts. He's the one that ran the cancer awareness car, if I'm correct.
Butch was second in the compacts. Butch Helfrich, yep.
Yeah, I know he does a lot of stuff for cancer awareness. I'm pretty sure he's battling cancer himself.
That reminds me, on the topic of that, we're going to be talking with Eric Remington here in the next couple of weeks. He is running an awareness car, and in Dunkirk this year, Chautauqua County Fair, he is running a theme car for Brendan Maddox, Team Brennan. He has Progressia, which is where you're 7 years old and your body looks like you're 70. And tough disease. Basically the kids, pretty much anybody that has it is going to be, they're going to pretty much guarantee they're going to die of heart failure about the age 12, 13 years old. So,
It's a shame.
but there's a family out there that's got it. He's going to have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all over his car, and the trophies and winnings that the car brings in are going to go back to Team Brennan. They're trying to get a Diplomat done, which is the car that Eric's run, and he got Showman of the Year in Dunkirk last year with a Diplomat when he was sending Buick Regals over the barriers like crazy. He did just fine with that. He's going to try to have the car done so that it's at their benefit coming up in June up there in Brockton, New York.
Last week, I think it was, on Turn Back the Clock, they had a picture up from, I believe it was Dunkirk, and they mentioned something about somebody getting out of their car and popping somebody's tire during a red flag. And I wanted to know if you'd heard anything about that, because I know that you've been up there recording.
I've been up there a couple times, and that place
like
is...
with a knife, like going up and just popping to someone's tire? Or
Yeah, like they got out. They got out during.
Just walk up to him and shanked it.
I read it last week, and I almost think
There's so many people that have ideas now, Brian.
That's
You just
so
gave them all ideas.
That's all right.
awesome.
But I thought that I can't remember his name though. One of the guys up there that I've come to know through you was involved about it or knew something about it. But I was going to ask you last week, and I forgot all about it. Maybe you can get in touch with some of the guys up there this week. And
I mean, maybe it might be enough just to have the conversation here now, and something will pop up in the live chat. I would love for that to happen. Last year there was a fight on the front stretch.
that's old news. We seen that in Weagle 20 years ago.
Yeah, there was a fight on the front stretch, and horseback sheriffs had to come and break it up. And
I don't know, a fight is like always fun to watch for me.
one of the gentlemen was let out in handcuffs and still had his driver's helmet on, so that was kind of cool. But
Were you running at Owego the year Jesse got into it with one of the Browns?
I wasn't running, but I
You're
never
there
missed
with
a
Chris
Wego.
Dex, probably.
Yeah, I was there. I remember the night you're talking about.
That was awesome.
I went running down the track to watch it.
You know, in the 90s was real fun too, because there were so many families against each other that it didn't matter what night you were. Somebody hated each other. Somebody was pissed off. Someone's gonna fight.
The cops are coming out for something.
It was the same way at home, all the time. It was always my dad would have somebody jacked up against a 53-foot trailer in the back corner of the pit. I mean, it was just crazy all the time.
Is that where you get your calm demeanor from, Pete? Is your dad?
I'm a very mellow guy.
I just,
So you twist me just the right way.
Hey, about stock cars out there, like this, you looked at all the stock cars that were out there. Were they like bone stock, or not really? Because they were calling it like bone stock, but was it like?
Be honest with you, I didn't have the time to even look at, and I didn't take the time. I mean, when they were driving by, I just kind of glanced. They looked pretty stock from the exterior.
Yeah, they look like chain and go cars, pretty much.
Pretty close. I mean,
from
I
what
didn't.
they're
I didn't see how
described
long
and,
it was, if it was a
and what the
long-
rules and what they're described.
well,
is
you saw
pretty much
that.
chain and
You
go
saw
cars.
the division with the roundbacks.
Yeah, no, I wondered if it was exactly. Well, that's true. It's the
Yeah.
same
It's
rules.
a
Yeah.
Derby
Good
Icons
point.
show. It's
Yeah.
a Derby Icons show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those were both stock.
Yeah.
Those were pretty straightforward.
I think John Bell from Team Leftovers, possibly. I seen the 01 that said John Bell had a pretty clean wagon out there. I don't even know who won that class. I didn't watch it. The stock class.
Who did win the stock class, Chris?
stock class. The bone stock was Jim Frost.
Doesn't see a vehicle. I wonder what he was running.
Actually,
missed
Cheaters. I was talking to Robert Compton at Cheaters today, and he kicked a whole bunch of
pretty sure it was a shocker.
results our way, so we'll be able to run it in the magazine.
Probably won it with a shocker.
There was a shocker out there. Still doing
Hansen's
that
name
one.
in a stock. Hansen was in the stock class too, wasn't he? I heard Hansen's name.
Yeah, there was a Hansen out there.
I heard a couple people say Chrysler's would.
Andy Hansen, yeah.
Andy Hansen.
Bring the stock
He's
class.
been around for a while.
I mean, all in all, them 03s that come out of, that area specifically, I mean, aluminum cradles, they were wrapped with 1/4 inch, but they were running on stock suspension parts and stuff like that. You could not, from what I could tell, I don't think, you could tip them at the cross members, the only place you could tip them. You couldn't cut the boxes and tip them. And they were impressive. Straight up impressive.
Well, that's what Brown was telling us. I mean, Mike
Yeah,
Brown was
Mike
saying.
Brown said that.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's gonna dust an Imperial with an 03, stock to stock, and
When I hit some of them 03s, It was no
Well,
different than a suicide.
The Team Canada, they were pretty strong, and I didn't get to see.
They were all 98 to 02.
98
well,
to
no,
02s?
I'm lying.
Was there one of them that was an 03?
90% of them were all 89 to 91 HDs.
Okay.
They weren't the 98 to 02s.
Really?
Yeah, and that's Tim. I mean, not
call.
Tim, but Rick Clark last year, Bash for Cash.
Yeah.
91 HD.
I heard that a couple years ago. A couple guys that prefer they'll swear up and down 89, 90 HDs will just dust.
Yes. 98 to 02s. Yeah.
You're saying yeah, but that means you're agreeing with that?
With a little bit of research I had done,
Makes you nervous when he does that, doesn't it, Steve?
they might be a little better. You know.
We got Jason Brodzinski, another member of Team Brusiers, on the line. We're going to be talking with him for a little bit. Jason, first of all, I just want to say congratulations on the win and making it right down there at the end with your teammates. Give me some thoughts on what it's like to walk away from Spring Explosion, one of the most popular Derby Icon shows out there, and come away with a victory.
That was a pretty hard-fought battle. I'm glad to have Pete on our team. He was the backbone. That Riv was pretty tough.
I mean, were you nervous at all when Pete said that he decided he wanted to go the direction with a Riviera?
Boy, I think I knew the front was going to be tough, but I thought, what's going to happen with the back end? I've seen going to Metal Mayhem, you see the back frame rail can rip off, and they can back under their own bumper and sheet metal and get hung up.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of stressed that to him, but I had faith in him.
And what'd you think about the aftermath? I mean, every car out there looked like it was pretty much used up.
Seemed like every car but our group.
Well, that's what you want.
That's probably where all the rumors are coming from that we're cheating, Heard a lot of that today, that people didn't take our win very well, and a little bit of drama happened on the track after, but I guess that happens when you win.
Yeah, you're never a cheater till you win.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah, I ain't mentioning no names, but I had a driver that was on that particular track with us under my car with a flashlight up in the frame rails.
Oh, didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
Back off.
Jeez, I remember a long
I mean,
time ago.
he's got cajones. You got to be that big. I mean, realistically, really?
No, you don't. It's,
Yeah, that's not a very classy move.
no.
Well,
Not at a
especially at
show of that
caliber.
caliber.
Exactly.
No.
No.
I expect that at the hometown county
Yes,
fair.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust your inspectors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lost. You lost. Just go home. Build another one.
Absolutely. Hey, the important thing, though, Jason, you guys still got the big trophies and the big check. That's all that matters, right?
Congratulations.
I guess, yeah, that was still trying to sink it all in.
Yeah, how tough is it for something like this to sink in, to sort of become real to you? Now, I mean, this is really catapulted all four of you guys into a national conversation.
Right. Well, I take this stuff pretty serious, you know what I mean? And I knew we'd have a good team, and after finding out that Team EPR, Guard, the leftovers, and the young kids were all supposedly gunning for us, they were working together, and then I knew it was going to be even harder yet.
You guys knew that pulling into the feature, or you heard this
16
afterwards?
people were on a team,
Not me, and if Jason knew about it, you didn't tell me about it.
I'm interested. That changes the dynamic of the feature big time.
Didn't share that information.
He might have kept that to himself. Didn't want to make me nervous, being a beginner.
I mean, realistically, was there anybody that you were quote unquote nervous about? I guess so to say. Was there anybody that you were watching, or were you in a good enough
Just
spot?
hoping Pete didn't miss someone to hit me.
I bumped him a little bit in the heat. I bounced off and just bumped him a little. His eyes, he turns over and looks at me like, I didn't hurt nothing. Relax.
You rolled somebody, Pete.
Yeah, that was
You
awesome.
put somebody-
Well, not by myself, by
No.
no means. When I turned around and looked back, and I started going backwards, and I looked back the second time, it looked like he was up a little bit already.
Yeah.
Not knowing, when I first looked back, he was level. The next thing I know, he's up a little bit. And next thing I know, I'm pointing the ground and
That was awesome.
I'm on top of somebody. And I think I had help from my teammates for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, it was a group effort,
It
but I
worked
mean,
out
it was
well,
it
though.
was pretty wild.
Because that guy like pulled right up on a trunk of a car, and he just had that like a foot higher, and I was like, as soon as I seen you guys both together, it's like he's going over, man.
There's a couple times I just backed up and I kind of overviewed the whole situation. Had a few seconds of free time there, and I'm watching Jason and I'm watching Ryan Songluski and Eric, and I mean they're just eating people up, and you talk to other people and they say I was doing the same thing, and it's like overall they said we just dominated, and I didn't think we were, because I was getting my bells rung sometimes by other cars like Team Canada. I seen them go by me a couple times. I mean, they were flying.
Well, I mean, actually, Jason brings up, said that there was some conversation. What was the point of contention that people were questioning in your cars, or is there actually something that you did to your cars that made your cars hold up better, that gave you some sort of an advantage in the feature?
I don't think so. I think I put a pretty heavy bumper on my front end, and other than that, it was all little stuff. It was all nitpicky stuff you'd expect from someone out of your county fair, not at a national level.
Hey, I got a quick question. In your guys' heat, right before the heat started, they were stuck on somebody's car for like a minute. They stopped you when you were pulled in, then they stopped you when you were waiting.
They had like a conference.
What was going on there? Because
Because
it was kind of weird. They only did that to one of your cars. What was going on there? What were they hung up on that they saw?
Making sure that the seatbelt was buckled.
No, I don't think it was that. They're looking at a driver's frame rail, right? Remember that?
No, it wasn't nothing to do with frame rails. It was suspension.
It was they wanted us to make sure we all were running
Stock spindles,
suspension,
this,
and
that.
not reinforced, and
But shouldn't they have checked that
Yeah.
inspection line?
Yeah, I was
why
going
were
to
they-
say that really ain't the time to do it. You're driving
kind
on
of
the heat.
late.
They did, and everything was fine. But I think there was still little bugs out there in the pit area flying around, like me.
You guys had your own spray paint and changed the parts and
Oh,
resprayed
that's
it. You're always.
But
gonna
look,
have
that's
that,
but that's a credit to. But I mean look at it from the other side. That's a credit to Derby Icons. They're making sure that everything's fair.
Exactly.
They're making sure that it's an
Exactly.
even playing field.
Our
You
cars-
are too high up the pecking order at this point to have something stupid like that be what undoes it. That's a
Yeah.
credit to Derby Icons.
Well, after a car goes through inspection line and is pulling out on a track, is it fair, because everyone was inspected legally, is it fair to take somebody's saying randomly in the pits, this guy, if Pete's got his own A-arms or something, and then go and re-inspect only Pete's car?
Well, I mean, for one thing,
They did all our team. Every one of our, I know for a fact, when we were pulling on the track, I was last guy on track. I watched them check Ryan's, Jason's, and Eric's, and mine. They got their head under there and they were looking. And
After
I mean, if you go through inspection the first time and you're told to change something,
Yep.
Yep.
do it.
change it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Well, you're only
It-
given they still follow through out there with the 2-time deal, right?
No. I've seen cars going back and forth all day.
Okay.
But
Okay.
once you got your stick, was your car impounded then? Or could you
Yeah,
take it?
no. You were supposed to be impounded. I did see some cars scoot back to their trailers, not saying anything, but I mean, they just scooted back and they kind of hung out there. And then, when it was time, they skipped out. And I don't think they did anything, honestly. I mean, I just think they went back and, maybe bolted their hood down or whatever. I mean,
Right.
I have no gripes. I mean,
No.
across the board, every car that was there that night was built quality hard. It was just, there was nobody skimping any corners. I mean, everybody had the top of the line stuff in their cars, and everybody was out to win that show.
Everybody was talking about the EPR guard heat, or excuse me, the leftovers guard heat.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched.
Yeah.
All I've seen of that was like a minute from the whole show. Was like a minute of the guard leftovers,
That's all that there was.
and they said go, and those guys were all on the floor. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they were knocking each other out of their seats. And then I haven't had a chance to check YouTube or anything for it yet, but
There was a lot of driving skill going on in that heat. I
Oh, yeah.
watched, I paid close attention to it, and and it was just a bad draw. We were there for the draws, and Tori took a whole handful of envelopes of the teams, and the wind was blowing kind of that day, and he just threw it off the stage, and it hit the ground, and I mean, papers flew everywhere, and people are scattering to grab them and get them back in a pile, and he had a little kid come down and just grab an envelope, walk it up, he'd open it up and read it, and then against this, boom, boom. And it was just the luck of the draw, who you pulled and who you picked. And like our team, I've never ran against them, don't really know them people. And, just a few people around the pit area said, you ever ran against them? I said, no. And they said, they can be a really tough team and a really, quality bunch of guys and good working team together. And
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Why couldn't we just get
I don't think there's a team that you'd want to draw.
No,
That's the thing is I know earlier in the when they released the list, I went down through and I mean there was a lot of good names.
Yeah, there was.
There wasn't wasn't any slouches there.
No.
I mean that was all that was pretty much the best of the best right there. I mean
like Pete said, it was all top notch builds, everything. And if you weren't meticulous on every little thing, that's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah.
And that's the deciding factor. Whoever wasn't as meticulous,
It's not the big stuff anymore.
No,
it's the little
it's
stuff.
the real
Yeah.
little stuff.
Yeah.
And to be able to something like that happen, and then you can exploit it so fast. You can just hammer and jump right on it. But
I mean that's where Derby's going. I mean it's the way of racing. I mean back in the day you didn't have 48-page checklists on a car for a race, but you do now. And it's getting to be that way for Derby.
Yeah.
I mean you can't have that much time and money invested and have something stupid break. I mean it would drive someone nuts.
Well,
I mean you guys are putting that time into it. I mean
Well,
it's
you gotta think
incredible.
Everyone there, something stupid broke.
Yeah.
Besides the guys that were at the end.
Me I'm from Pennsylvania and I'm running with guys from up there in Michigan, upper and lower Michigan, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this guy's trying something new. This guy's trying something new. I mean, it was like they were being guinea pigs that day, and I'm thinking to myself,
Makes you nervous.
I wonder what kind of confidence they got in that stuff in their car, and I never mentioned that to Jason, and I thought it was kind of funny, and like I was helping Jason out when he got there because me and him had talked a little bit about some things, and I said I run him for years, a certain thing, and I went over there and I helped him out and took care of that stuff, for him, and it was like, his inside of his car looked like NASA, space shuttle. There's just shit everywhere. I looked at him, I scratched my head, and I says, "Man, you're crazy." That's what his builder, his engine builder wanted him to run, and
Right.
that's great. But it was kind of funny.
yeah.
So I mean, what's that, Jason? What's that tell you? I mean, what's it like hearing that now, supposedly for the first time?
He's always throwing pokes at me.
I was trying the MSD setup, and then I was going to buy it. You can adjust your timing in the car, and I thought, well, how cool will that be? You got to retard this thing and fire it, So, well, why not? Why not add that? It's only another $100 and some bucks, so.
Only.
And I make a new gas pedal, and I have an adjustable idle. So I have a remote adjustable idle. I had
Inside the car.
inside the car I can adjust my idle. I had,
That's cool.
Yeah.
I never had a temp gauge, so I thought, how do you, everything in this sport's kind of going to a different direction. How do you know?
Hey, wait a second. Why do you need a temperature gauge?
You're not gonna slow
Yeah, it's
down.
not like you're going to shut off or slow down.
You're a spring explosion. You get too hot, you're gonna shut it off.
I looked at it. There was a red flag, when Mike Mowry got rolled over. I kicked my idle up a little bit. This was a brand new engine, and
Yeah.
I kicked the idle up a little bit, so I was rocking and rolling out there pretty good. I didn't want the thing to get some gas splashed around and die, so I always just want to up the idle. Well, I look, and I figured it was going to be a while to get him out of there and check everything out, so I'm looking at it, and I toned my idle down, and I'm trying different pulleys and fans, and everything is usually a guess, When you go to these top derbies, you're out there. Some features I've seen have lasted for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Even if it's an hour, there's all these red flags, there's bumpers off.
Sure.
You look down and see where you're at. You have some time,
Right.
I was
So, I mean,
able to idle
well,
down
just-
my car and sit there and watch the temperature gauge drop.
So I mean, did you ever think in your lifetime that you'd have Chad Knos's phone number on speed dial?
Oh,
For anybody who lives under Stone, Chad Knos is the crew chief for Jimmy Johnson at the Sprint Cup level. NASCAR.
That's the other
But
Jimmy Johnson.
it's got
The
to,
other, yes, the 48, the Lowe's car. Good God, I mean,
like Chris on it, I'll touch on the temperature gauge thing. I mean, that's peace of mind
Yes.
right there. To just get a little bit more of a peace of mind is oh shit, my car, like Pete says, that was only 170. So you're not even close. So
Why not stand on a
why
hard
not stand on it harder? You know,
See, my thing is,
and
Josh would probably agree with you, but I'd look down, and my gauge would be right down past
all
the
the way.
300, heading
way.
back, and I'd be going, I only got like 2 shots left. Somebody's getting
I would have
drove.
lost my radiator early.
so, you know,
Well, last year-
every little bit of helps. I mean, every
Last year
piece
at
of mind.
Mayhem, I'm there, and it's a little slower. Well, I'd say a lot slower pace than what we just did. You know, and there's times out there you're sitting there during water break, and you're watching your temperature go up because you're not moving no air through your radiator. So you just kick the idle up a little bit, and it's like, brrr, and
Yeah,
you watch
just
the
watch it go
temperature
bloop, go
come
right
back
down.
down, and you're like,
Yeah.
that temperature gauge is a bonus.
Yes. Yes.
What you got, Steve?
That's where I got the idea. I was talking to Pete, and they used a different pulley ratio. And how do you know? How do you know where you're at? Even at idle to taking it for a ride around the house, it's all a guess.
It's just like oil coolers, all the
Everything.
coolers. I mean, everything. I mean, everybody thought I was nuts when I first started running an oil cooler around here. They're like, well, you got to need that.
What you got, Steve?
Trust me.
It's interesting to see kind of two sides of Jason here, because one of the many people in our live chat tonight is Josh Wagner, who was there
Hey.
at Spring Explosion, and he got to watch. And Josh said that Jason is an animal. First time he's ever seen a helmet bend the window bars on the dash 3 times in a row. So to hear that, and also hear that he has the presence of mind to sit at a red flag and adjust his idle and watch his temperatures, it really shows two sides of a good driver.
That
And
That's
one
cool.
time that wasn't his helmet; it was his shoulder.
Yeah,
really,
Man.
Yeah.
Jason. How bad's that bruise?
broke. So I was flying all over. I can't even remember who I was hitting.
Did you say your seatbelt broke?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Did the material break, or did you pull it out of the floor?
I don't know. I haven't even looked yet.
Wasn't worried about it.
Humpty Dumpty almost cracked his egg.
Yeah.
You know, running around here, I've
I don't wear a seatbelt.
yeah, I've undone some seatbelts, but I couldn't imagine the way you guys are driving out there, the way I've seen.
You're gonna break
I'm
some
going to
wrists.
tell you right now, all the years I've ran, I've learned it over the years. Real loose seatbelt, blah, blah. Spring Explosion, different aspect.
Yeah, tighten it up.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I did.
I would. Well, I'd
I did,
actually,
yeah.
like we were talking to Mike Brown, I'd actually run shoulder
5
straps. I mean,
Yes.
it makes all the
Have you
it
thought
makes
about
all
that?
the sense in the world.
Well, those
for
guys
me,
at Blizzard
personally.
Bash, some of them were running racing harnesses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I
But
can
Pete,
see
you don't
why.
think about ever
Yeah.
doing that?
I don't have the ability to lock myself down like that. I feel like I was too confined.
But
Well,
do you
it-
run a shoulder when you
Oh,
run?
God, no.
No.
You'll have sliced.
Yeah, see,
It'd be
I'm
no
not-
good.
See, I just tie mine down. What do? You cut yours right off? Or
I just
Pete's
run
too-
a lap belt.
He's too cool
Yeah.
for seatbelts.
I take my steering wheel and go, and okay, we're good. Okay, we're good.
yeah, but you're gonna break your wrists, right? I mean, at that caliber, if you're breaking your seatbelt, I mean, that's
Yeah,
gonna
you'll break
some wrists.
thumbs, wrists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, you probably will. I know about the only thing that really hurt on me, and it might be just old age, is my hips. You know, from bracing myself on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with your feet.
That's why I think the
Yeah.
brake pedal and all that stuff went gone by.
You had that much force on it. You
Oh,
broke
yeah.
your welds off.
No, it broke the whole assembly that you buy from Willwood. It just
Oh, we broke them years. The first year we went to Huntington, we broke one of them clean off the dash bar.
Yeah.
And it broke the whole aluminum housing
Yep,
and everything
gone.
right off.
Wow.
And I mean, I ran Hartford, so I mean, I thought that was hard hitting, but shit, that was nothing.
Did you watch the tape? Or? Because you weren't doing much.
That was nothing. When I hit cars around here, it's kind of nice because, like I said, it's soft. Out there,
Soft landings, right?
yeah. You know, it's like landing on a couch.
Yeah. What you got?
Again, Josh Wagner playing the role of spotter for us. He said that it was the 225 car of the leftovers that Jason was hitting when he bent the bar like that. He wanted me to pass that on to Jason so
Was
he
that
could
Josh
remember.
Johnson?
That number sounds
I
familiar.
think that's Josh. Josh Johnson.
But
He
he was
won
a
last
little
year.
upset after the Derby.
That was.
Ah.
There we go. Once again, Crash Course, bringing people
Bringing
together.
people together.
together.
You were being the bully, huh, Jason?
I looked
Oh,
at
what-
my bar and I'm like, how'd that thing bend? And I'm thinking, the other one didn't bend. Couldn't be from my firewall coming back. And I remember a couple hits there. I seen some stars after, and I bent my steering wheel. I just grabbed the thing back and bent it straight so I could use it. And
You know, I was just going to ask that question when you were talking about the broken wrists. Justin Hare's one time at Fulton drove so hard, and Brian can relate to this. At Fulton, he was driving his modified so hard, modified race car, dirt modified. He was driving it so hard, and he was pulling so much in the corners, he actually bent the steering wheel out. It pushed off to the right side. And I'm thinking the guys are letting loose, hanging tight, so they don't smash their hands and rip their thumbs off and stuff like that. If anybody had bent steering wheels out there that you'd come across, then
Every time I race. Yeah. Every time. I've yet to run a race not bending a wheel.
Like, the aftermarket stuff too?
Yeah,
Oh,
everything.
easy.
I bet every single one of those.
See, now I would have figured it was the other way. You'd have been breaking or at least bending the.
I never bend old Chrysler steering wheels. Never.
Oh yeah.
It's because
I don't.
I wrap and bend them things all over. Yeah.
They're designed to give some.
Didn't Brett lay his hand open? Brett Ray laid his open. One of those.
He was crying about.
That was that was because of the way it was welded on. That wasn't necessarily the.
I thought the outer hoop on that was what broke, and he caught it on the.
It was
clean off.
There was like a sharp plastic piece on it.
Who's going to be the next guy that comes out with aftermarket steering wheels that don't bend?
I know. Here we go. I mean,
You can't.
seriously,
Something's going to break
Josh,
next then.
shut up.
Oh, sorry. Was that your idea?
That's
They
our
have
that's
the
our $1 million
solid
idea.
Sorry.
They got the solid center aluminum ones.
They're junk. Straight up. I used one in Mayhem last
Well,
year.
doesn't bend. If your steering wheel doesn't bend, what's gonna break or bend?
Yeah,
Right.
There's got to be
hands,
something
your wrists.
somewhere. Sooner or later.
Your thumbs, your wrists.
Yeah.
So something's got to give.
Right.
I'd rather replace a steering wheel than have a cast on my arm or hand or.
Well, when we were down at
wrist or-
Razorback, we were hanging out with Atkins and Shrek there, and they had like 7 steering wheels hanging on the wall in their trailer. And I said, "What do you guys do to keep your things from?" Oh no, we just chuck them out after every race. And they had 7 of them brand
I
new there.
forgot
They
that you
just
said
take
that.
them in. Remember that?
Yeah, I forgot he said that. Yeah.
Like what, guys?
Oh yeah.
That's
Always
crazy.
keep a spare.
Like $50
Always
bill
keep
out the
a
window,
spare.
just chucking $50 bills. Fuck.
Hey, Pete, did you bend your wheel this time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. One of my guys got in my car today just to roll it back out of the trailer, and he's like, "Wow, it's like, how do you drive this?" You know, and this is a new guy that works for me, and he's never been around the derby world at all. And
I've
he's
just
like,
never put that much thought into the bending of the steering wheels. Really, I mean, it makes complete sense. Complete sense that you're replacing them after every show. But in theory, if you did it right, there shouldn't be anything to run again.
I'll tell you
right?
another quality part in my car is made by Jason Brodzinski, because I'll guarantee you that cable shifter got the most abuse that I've probably ever seen. Because when I was mad in the beginning, everybody said I looked like a driver on crack in there. I was just taking that thing and I was slamming it. I mean, forward, backwards. They said my hands were flying and pointing and yelling, and I know I was holding on by it.
Really?
I was holding on to that shifter just like it was a handle.
Did you run the thing from the back of your seat up to the pillars?
Yeah, I had a center bar. No, I got a center bar right here.
Oh yeah, I remember
The center bar, and my shifter was right there. I mean, when I sit in my seat, my shifter is right here, so it's comfortable. I'm not leaning the head shake.
Right.
I mean, that's the bonus about this new shifter that Jason makes. And the gas pedal, how many guys out there today sit in their car, and they make a hit? Oh shit! I forgot to turn up the idle, and it quits. We just reach up there and you just give it a half a turn or a turn right on your cage bar or wherever you got it mounted, and up goes your idle.
Very nice.
Or your car starts getting real warm and it's idling real high and you're afraid to beat on your transmission a little bit, especially the Mopar guys. You just back it down a little bit. You just back it down a
That was
little
like
bit.
a jab.
No,
That was
yeah.
just a
You
quick.
don't see the guy climbing up out of his hood of his car, the red flag reaching down in the hole.
I love those days. I love those. But what about that bar? What about that center bar right next to your hip? Do you guys ever feel nervous because you got your arm up on that? Did you ever hit your ribs, or is that happening? Because I would think
This was the first time I ever ran one, Josh, and I'll be honest with you, I was worried about it. I padded it up a little bit, not really great, but just because my elbow was sitting on it. I didn't want to get bone chips and stuff.
Yeah, I would think.
You know,
Yeah.
The
but I
micro
padded-
the micro hotel still looking for their pillows back.
but I never
hit it.
not even with the side of my leg,
Really?
nothing. I thought for sure I was going to cloud that thing a few times.
Yeah, because we got looking at it and we were talking about it. I was like, man, it seemed like you get the rib
there's
shot.
a video of a guy at Razorback, an in-car camera, and he is getting. It looks like me in there, just like a ragdoll.
Dude,
just
he's the
flop
one.
all
He got
around.
knocked all the way over to the passenger
yeah,
side.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me nervous. I mean, you hit your ribs with your arm up, and that's wide open.
Yeah,
You're
that's-
taking the breath out of you. I mean,
that
You're
punctured
breaking,
lung.
you're breaking shit
it
there.
makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think more so, depending on the driver. I mean, there's so many quality drivers, but I try to be the hitter instead of the hittee,
Right.
and always try to keep myself out of that side shot predicament that's going to screw your wheels up. I mean, I made that whole feature the other night, and I did bend a wheel in the heat, and I just because of my own stupidity got a little sideways in the wrong. I made that whole feature, and every one of my tires, rims, and wheels are completely straight. Not a component's bent in the steering. Everything's perfect. You know, so if you're not getting them side shots,
Right.
you're not. I mean, everything I took was forward abuse.
Yeah.
Or you know, it was all
Forward
forward,
to back,
And
the
backward
whole
in the
night.
heat. How'd you feel about your heat? Because in the back they went after the back like right at the beginning. Like 3 guys tracked you. It looked like they were almost trying to take the back of that
Yeah,
thing
but
out.
it packed it right
It bent
in.
nice. Yeah, no, it
Perfect.
looked good.
Yeah.
It
It
looked
tightened
good.
it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it knuckled one hump down, but that's fine. That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Let it knuckle it down. Let it lock into the rear end. Let that stuff pack in there, and we're good for the rest of the night.
Yeah, because you're not gonna be potato digging at all.
So you don't pull that back out. You leave that kink in the hump.
Yeah, we did a little bit of twisting and some 9-wire and a little bit of things we do, and it was fine.
a little magic.
We
Little
we
magic.
do have some information that we got to share from our buddies out at the Plymouth County Fair. Congratulations to them landing O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I saw
as
that.
a title
Nice.
sponsor.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Pretty
No,
big
that's
deal for
big.
those guys. That's cool. Wanted to make mention of for that for Brandon. You can hear about him in just a minute. We got to pay a couple bills, and we'll be right back with you here on the Crash Course.
The new rules are just right. Set aside July 19th for the reinvented Keystone Nationals. Again this summer, Bo Lockwood will host the Keystone Nationals at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in Brookville, Pennsylvania. A revamped rulebook will help welcome an all-star field as the limited well division takes center stage and a feature paying $5,000 to win. Pre-entries for the stock division are already full. For more details, join the Keystone Nationals community online at www.facebook.com/Keystone Nationals. Once again, the Keystone Nationals, July 19th, 2014 at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds, Brookville, Pennsylvania. What better way to spend Memorial Day than seeing a bunch of cars being smashed? Spend the holiday with Smash It Demolition Derbies as they again host the Bash for Cash at the Fayette County Fairgrounds in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Planned for May 24th and 25th, the card is headlined by the co-main events, the 11,000 to win DerbyParts.com 80s and newer class, and the DerbyTees.com 10,000 to win Turn Back the Clock division. Other classes include full-size trucks, U-Compact, street stocks, and the 80s and newer wire-up division. Gates open daily at 10 a.m. with action to follow at 4. For more information and details, visit the online home of Bash for Cash at www.smashitderby.com. Total Destruction Demo Productions is primed for an explosive 2014. Based out of Trumansburg, Steve Manshaki and Lead Inspector Ben Hoff have a busy summer with 4 epic events over 7 nights scheduled all over New York State. The schedule starts with the Spring Fling in Morris, New York, June 14th. Total Destruction then hosts 2 nights of carnage at the Ontario County Fair in Canandaigua, New York, July 22nd and 26th. Then the grueling Double Down follows with the Otsego County Fair in Morris planned for July 31st and August 3rd, and the Franklin County Fair in Malone set for August 2nd and 4th. For more details, visit www.totaldestructiondemo.com or call 607-769-6820. July 26th, the Plymouth County Fair Demolition Derby will undergo the ultimate evolution. Brandon Tyson has brought on Ultimate Derby sanctioning for his Mammoth County Fair event at the end of July. Modifieds pay $3,000 to win and pay the top 7. Stocks pay back the top 5 with $1,500 to win. Compacts pay the top 5 with $1,000 to win. The event will be streamed live to the internet for free. Want to live the Derby experience? Competitors are allowed passengers this year. It all goes down July 26th at the Plymouth County Fairgrounds in Lamars, Iowa. Start time is 6:30. Visit www.PlymouthCoDerby.com. That's PlymouthCoDerby.com.
And we're back. And once again, it was the PlymouthCoDerby.com. Make sure you get online, check those guys out. They just landed O'Reilly Auto Parts. Congratulations to those guys.
I was watching some of their show from last year on YouTube, and I'll tell you what, that is one of the nicest setups I've ever seen for a derby. The track is beautiful. They've got a grandstand like you wouldn't believe.
10,000 people it holds.
I
right?
mean,
That's the one he said 10,000.
Yeah, they can get 10,000 people in that place.
And it was
huge. I mean, I haven't been there to know for sure. Definitively, I haven't counted them by heads, but there's a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, because the camera I was watching was like on top of the grandstand, so you could see all the people and then the track. And I mean, the track was big and they were hitting, but there was a ton of people.
Brandon
It looks awesome.
A picture of a guy pulling out on the track.
Yeah, that was the one that was on. It ended up being the wall.
Crowd, and it is such a badass picture of 10,000 people watching you pull out on the track. It's like, hell yes, man. You know, that's the kind of derbies I want to run.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, at least once.
That's how you get your name out real quick.
Steve, how's the live chat been going?
It's picking up even better now.
Yeah.
we've had Josh Wagner kind of filling through some of the gaps from what he saw at Spring Explosion. We've got Mark from Delaware. He's back with us again. Tom from Vermont just jumped in here. Duncan's with us. So a whole bunch of guys, and people are keeping themselves entertained and asking questions here about Spring Explosion. Wagner said that Jason wasn't the only guy doing hard hitting. He said that he saw Pete hit a Vic nose to nose, and he saw the frame of the Vic vibrate from the bumper all the way back to the boxes, and he could see it from his seat. So that must have been a hell of a hit.
That was in your heat. That was in your heat, I think.
Yeah, my brain did the same thing.
So after your busy weekend, have you made it back to work yet, or?
He is working right now.
Me?
Yeah.
No,
This
because
is my job.
All right, I just checking. I was just checking.
This is a question.
My wife is a saint. I love her to death. She supports me 100%. I could spend $200,000 in a year as long as everything's taken care of. She don't care. She was with us. She was out there.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
mean,
pictures.
She did great. I mean, everybody was in love with her, wanted to take her home because the way she cooks.
That's good to hear.
We were eating Delmonico's, marinated. We had Cajun shrimp, baked potatoes with onions and sour cream, on the grill. Everybody was like, "Hey, you're my friend today."
Actually, I got a question for you based off of that, and also for Jason. After you eat like that in the pit area, and you're making impacts that are rattling frames, and you don't have yourself you've got yourself tight in the seat. What about all the squishy parts inside? Because something still has to move. You know what I mean?
Well, don't if you fill it.
Well, is that
It's like a frame of a car.
is
Chris.
that the theory?
When you fill it, it don't move.
You got to stuff it.
Good point.
I got to remember that. I got some building to do. I got to remember that.
But I mean, Jason,
I'm gonna hear
fill,
that again.
fill me
I
in a
know
little
that.
bit here on how that works. I mean, do you feel the internal force of that because you're so tight? The cars are so hard. You're so tight to the seat. Do you feel that internal quake? I mean, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, after my seatbelt broke, there was I think at least a half a dozen times when I was seeing stars.
Yeah, I mean, you guys talked about your heads and that stuff bouncing around and bending bars with your head. Sure, it's in a helmet, but you're still your brain sloshing.
There's still a
around
brain in there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. And you're talking about what you can do to your rib cage and stuff underneath there, but everything's still crashing into each other. You got a derby running inside your rib cage, and I just wondered, what bruises you put on your spleen.
I wonder if there was a doctor there. Like, how many guys are concussed?
Concussed?
Like,
Oh.
Pete's probably concussed. Jason's probably concussed. EPR whole team's probably concussed. Do you think that guys maybe get concussions out there?
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There was no doubt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
then
the sanctioning
There's
body.
actually chiropractors that
Prior-
run in the Derby anyway, so you
Prior-
can get a free adjustment.
prior to this show, I had talked to Mr. Schutte, and we were talking a little bit about the whole rules and this and back and forth. And, he said to me, he says, "Pete, I'm gonna be honest with you, I care about your drivers more than I care about anything else." He says, "I want to keep toning this back and toning this back and toning this back." Because he says, "I don't want you guys running around like ex-football players, like drool hanging down out of your mouth." He says,
That's true.
he says, every time I go out there, with these super hard cars, guys are getting concussions after concussions after concussions. And he said, "I've seen so many guys we pulled out of the cars, they don't know their own name, they don't even know where they're at."
Well,
Yeah.
we saw,
Oh, yeah.
think about Jimmy Johnson at Blizzard Bash when he got his bell rung bad, and he goes, "I never went out." It's like, Jimmy,
Oh, you were out for
buddy,
a minute.
Yeah.
you were out, man.
Yeah, he was out.
And that's the thing is I've touched on it before. Is I'm a Derby fan and I love to watch the shows, but something's got to give because the cars aren't giving. And there's the body has taken a lot of abuse. I mean, it's
Even around here, you get in certain shows, they're high impact. I mean, you can't take away just the impact's an impact.
But around here, you get like
It's a
maybe-
car accident. I mean,
But you get a couple of those, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Like,
Dude,
when you
I've
do
ran shows.
Imperials,
I've
it's
ran
like,
shows. When I running the Imperials and the modified shows, my eyes hurt after the Derby.
yeah.
I mean that's about the only thing that was given, and it was like, you gotta be kidding me, and you talk to guys that are even the pro mod cars.
Yeah.
The guys that run them pro mod cars is like dump trucks hitting, and literally, I mean, the body parts you would not even imagine you would think hurt after a show because everything's just locked tight. Something's got to move.
I think 90% of why my shoulders hurt. I lock onto that wheel so hard,
just-
and my feet plant into the floor. I mean, I'm pushing the backside of my distributor tractor back down. It's like,
My chiropractor always said though, like the best thing you could do right before impact is actually relax
Relax.
yourself
Yeah.
as much as possible.
well, just like a drunk. They never get hurt in a
That's
wreck.
true.
No.
That's very true.
Oh.
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, how perfect
Did
is
you
it?
guys watch the Derby live?
I watched Friday
Josh
night. Yeah, I
Josh was
watched
over
it.
there at Brett's house.
Yeah, it was on Saturday.
I mean, everybody complained that it went off and it was junk and it was garbage and flipping out.
Yeah,
I mean, I had my whole family, we were kind of, me, Jason, and Ryan, and Eric, we had, a little tribute to my cousin Ryan, he just passed there, and my whole family got together to watch that car run, and there was a lot of emotions going on and stuff, and I was kind of, as me, I was kind of pissed off about the whole mess too. I mean, come on, what a joke. I mean, people are paying this kind of money to watch these kind of shows, and my family wanted to watch it. They can't afford it. My dad's sick. He can't go.
Right.
And my dad been by my side for forever, and he can't be there. Let's get with it. I don't care who it is, what it is. I'm not mentioning no names. I mean, it seems like all the time. It don't matter who it is. If you're going to do something, do it right or get out.
On the topic of Ryan, I mean, we are almost out of time. We only got about 3 minutes to go. On the topic of Ryan, how nice was it that you took that car? It was at his funeral. It was all lettered up. Then you had to repaint it. You brought it out there to Spring Explosion, and you come away with a win.
Well, it hurt me tearing that car apart, and yet to the day it bothers me.
We love you, buddy. Ryan was a good kid for sure.
Yep.
Now it was a good thing that happened. It was almost like he was there with you and through the whole thing though, because you guys were pulling out there as a group, and we saw us guys watching. It was like, this whole team's got it on his car. I mean, every derby guy got a derby guy. It was pretty cool that you did that for him.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's just.
It was a great thing, Pete. It was a great thing.
There's people showing me pictures, and it blows my mind because if somebody had posted that picture, he was actually in my car. I'm not lying.
No shit.
Oh,
That's
really?
cool. That's cool.
How cool.
And I don't believe in none of that crap. People might think I'm a rock, but I'm really not. I'm soft like a teddy bear. But the whole.
They're going to be paying $2,000 for ribs, and they're going to fold up. Pete had an angel above him.
Yeah. No, it's just.
I want to clear up. I don't know where we got the name Team Brusiers.
It's not.
Well, I don't know what the team was. I just what I heard. I heard Team Michigan. I heard Team Bruisers, and the results that were provided had Team Bruisers. So
It's Team Narra.
I think
I
Tori
was going
came
to
up
say it
with
was
that.
Team Narrow, wasn't it?
It was a lack of communication between Tori and I, but my uncle Brian Narrett, he sponsored us. Everybody on our team were running his equipment, and I just wanted to throw that out there. And we probably have to talk to the guys. We probably should get that changed. We had on the one side of a car, we had his sticker.
I saw the decal on your door.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
the
it
driver's
near
door.
it.
Yeah, that's
on the
what
door.
that's what confused me when I was hearing results and stuff. I'm like, well, all right, Pete was on like Team Narrett. Who's this
Yeah,
Bruisers team? Well, it kind of confused me at first, but
I mean, it could be.
Then when I seen the
if they
cars-
want to use the Bruisers name, that's fine. But I mean, it's
Nerds,
Nerds,
Bruisers.
Bruisers.
right, yeah, exactly.
Got to keep the guy happy that's doing the sponsor. That comes in handy.
Definitely.
Yeah, Narrett's Bruisers. That'll put even a bigger target on her back.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that there's a big target now, buddy. Just getting that out there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys certainly went out there and you set a tone. Congratulations to you. Certainly, it was an emotional win
Hold
for
on.
sure. I was certainly impressed to see a Riviera out there doing the damage that it did, and certainly for everybody in the Northeast, we're happy that Pete was able to go out there and find some success. Congratulations to Nearest Bruisers, or Team Near It, or Team Bruisers, whatever you call them. The
Where are they
check
going
is gonna.
next? Where's
Yeah,
next?
I guess the first time we talked, they said that depending on how it went in Spring Explosion, maybe we could make it to Blizzard Bash. You got to assume that Blizzard Bash has got to be on the schedule now. I mean, you clean house at one, you got to go to the next, right? I don't want to put any pressure on guys, but that's the way I look at it.
What is the next?
Why weren't you guys at Spring Explosion? You should have came and helped Pete.
Yeah, he said he didn't want us there.
Yeah.
Pete said, "Don't bring that brand of bad luck around me."
Obviously, you've never met Josh Decker with his luck, so.
Right, please.
We've been talking, back and forth about the whole, Blizzard Bash and stuff. And
We already talked about. You already said that the next show on your schedule is going to be Mayhem.
Mayhem.
That's the next.
But as a
plan,
team, I was wondering because you are a team now. You guys are you are the team to beat right now. So
Yeah,
you got to
absolutely.
pick the next place to
I and
go.
Songaluski got out of the car, and first thing he's like, "I nominate Pete." He didn't care about us winning. He was just looking into the future.
Yeah, he had came to me, and
Time of us running together, and I told these guys that Pete could bring a Pinto. He's an all-around good guy,
all right, Jason.
His whole setup, he treats you. The coolers of food. He's got that nice awning off his trailer. You get out of the sun, and if it's raining, and it's not only is he a good builder, has really good equipment. He's a good person, and he brings good people with.
Pete could win it in a wheelbarrow, huh? Is that what you're saying?
You got Chris Furster out to the Brookville. He says you can win it on 2 wheels with a Pinto against, I says, no, this is not how it's going to work.
First, they took a diplomat to bash for cash.
Yeah. And the Pro Mod.
Yeah.
I just feel, there's going to come a time and point my gravy train's over, and it might
But you're going to enjoy it till then.
Hey, and I'm not going to go down without a fight.
Hey,
Exactly.
man, they're going to know you were there.
If they're going to turn on me or any of my teammates, they're going to have their hands full, I guarantee you. Because
That's
I
the way to do
know
it.
everybody knows where the skinny pedal is.
Exactly.
And they don't care what happens.
Yeah.
There's no outcome of caring you break your motor, transmissions, rear ends. Who cares?
That's true derby guys.
Right.
You don't care.
On the way
Put the
home
show
to
on.
see if we could bring 4 ribs to Blizzard Bash.
That would be something.
Yeah. Come on, you're going to make the price go up on them now. Don't say nothing.
No. We're just bringing all new iron. That's all.
But
Wink, wink.
we can.
We can't afford to be buying these high-dollar cars and be doing this stuff.
It's a conversation that we are going to have another time. Jason, thanks a lot for hanging out with us for so long. Congratulations to Eric Blom, and Ryan Songaluski. Congratulations to everybody out there that took home wins. And another one in the books for Derby Icon. Sounded like it was a pretty successful one. And for Steve, thanks a lot for hanging out in the derbyparts.com live chat. And appreciate that. For Josh Decker. Who's putting on a
Weren't we
shirt.
supposed-
He's in a hurry to get out of here. Pete Hansen,
Weren't we
Brian
supposed
Tompkins.
to say something about Joker? Right, Joker.
Ben Haas, thanks for making the trip in, and hi Joker. There we go. Got one more in for you,
Yes.
and thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it. We'll see you back here next week.
Beep, 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 beep.